Thank you very much, Anita, for the presentation. I'll take the time to present the great team that I'm working with. I'm supervised and directed by Professor Zuber Lafage. My scientific supervisor is Dr. Zakaria Dakli, and I'm also co-directed by a robotic professor in Polytech Lille. He's Professor Roger Merzouki. I'm working with a great team from big construction company, with Antoine Facker, who is my project manager, Dr. Laure Ducoulombier, she's the manager of the share, and with the R&D director, Mr. Bruno Lignet. So today, I propose this summary. I'll start with the scientific context, then I'll move to the objective of this study. I'll share with you some findings of my PhD, and I'll end with the conclusion and the perspectives. So we are all okay that construction industry is a very important sector in terms of GDP contribution and employability capacity. But we are okay also that it suffers from big problems in terms of budget and deadline overruns. In addition, construction industry is lagged behind other sectors in terms of productivity performances. But we have the chance using a new evolution, which is called construction industrialization, which consists of moving some work from traditional construction on site to a controlled manufacturing space. This evolution has different terminologies all over the world. Nowadays, construction industrialization is called MMC in UK for modern methods of construction. It's called IBS, Industrialized Building System in Malaysia. And it's called PPMOF for prefabrication, pre-assembly, modular off-site construction, which referred to as globally pre-work in USA. But in France, it's called prefabrication or construction hors site for off-site construction. In spite its advantages, we noticed that construction industrialization represents only a small proportion of construction global activity. As shown here, it presents the share of off-site work presents only 45% in countries like Norway, Sweden. It's equal to 15% in Japan, 10% in Germany, and it doesn't exceed 6% in other countries like China, Australia, UK, and US. Shifting from traditional building construction sites to a more efficient modular off-site construction requires big changes, not only for module manufacturers, but also all the ecosystem of construction industry, like developers, material suppliers, public sectors, investors. Otherwise, a major actor like construction firms are at risk of being cut out of a value chain focused only in a simple module assembly. So all the players have to evaluate this new trend, assess the risks, and assess their strategic objectives. Otherwise, they will be left behind. Let's take a major player like construction firms. What can they do to go with the flow, to transform their method of working? In this slide, I will not talk about Catera. I will give you some other examples. For example, Skanska allied with IKEA, and they founded together a groundbreaking house concept which called Bokluk. Skander, the American giant, chose to compete in the modular construction world by founding very advanced manufacturing companies. In France, let's take the example of a pioneer of off-site construction, which called GS Smart Building, that integrated module manufacturers 3D wooden module supplier. It's called Osabois, and they are working together to develop mixed wooden and precast solutions. Bouygues, with its affiliate Drager Singapore, are developing a leader role in the Singapore construction industry by developing disruptive patents. So, construction industrialization has enjoyed her own boom in post-war. It has the boom in between the 40s, 50s in USA, in the 60s in UK, but it didn't last. It didn't last for quality and safety concerns. So why this time could it be different? Why we think that it will work this time? A wise man said once that we have the chance to industrialize our sector now in the era of digitalization, in the era of automation and the robotization. But there is also other factors. We can cite that we can say that these factors can enable us to adopt this construction method, like automated design, coordination and supply chain management, especially with the automated tools that are available. Changing customer perception, actually, here we can notice that construction industrialization has become a trend. So clients do not have anymore, or part of them do not have anymore, that bad perception of construction industrialization. Sustainability, actually in offsite construction we can produce well-isolated building components. And the last factor is customization and modern look. Customization because offset construction companies can be well robotized, and robotization enable us to customize. And there are some models of construction industrialization that propose the modern look. We're not talking about the low-cost industrialized construction. We talk about modular construction proposed by well-known celebrities, architects. So let's move to the objectives of my research subject. The first objective is investigate construction methods and industrialization rates in construction project scale. The second one is to study the advantages and limitations of innovative industrialized solutions used on site. The third one is determination of the key factors involved in the construction method. I know that there is a lot of research work that worked on these 2 points, but what interests us the most is to dig deep in the French context. And the last objective is the most important deliverable of my research project, which is the development of a decision support tool that allows the construction company to choose the method of construction of a residential building. I will share with you some findings related to the method type and criteria of an industrialized construction used by a construction company in French context, advantages and limitations, key factors in the decision-making process, and the model of decision-making that we proposed. Actually, in France, companies use modular construction. And we are not only talking about beams and columns, they really use it. We did investigation in construction sites. We spent times in construction sites. And we saw that construction companies in France use different types of industrialized building components that vary from 1D units to complete structures, and from simple structural elements to fully functional elements. For example, in individual housing, they use prefabricated brick walls with pre-wall and pre-slabs, and in some residential building, they use 100% prefabricated, pre-finished modules. In every construction site, installation procedure, manpower, crane productivity, profitability study were conducted. The second finding is the advantages and limitations of using industrialized solution. And as I said before, we were interested in the French context. So the result of this study are carried by the Shared Construction 4.0 with different construction stakeholders. We used questionnaire research method, and we sent it to construction firms, architects, consultants, etc. And the advantages, based on their own experience with industrialized projects, they cited these advantages. They see that industrialized construction improved productivity, minimized construction phase, it enabled improving quality. They appreciate gaining experience in new construction methods and reduce environmental impact. However, it has its own limitations, like long-lasting coordination work. Early decision often eliminates industrialization. Obligation of accepting alternatives with lower cost, supplier limited production capacity, and transport issue. When it comes to decision making, when they want to choose between industrialized construction or simple cast in situ construction, the major drivers that encourage them to use this construction method is productivity, planning, repeatability, quality, and security. However, these constraints made them think twice before adopting this construction method. It's like the limited experience with industrialization, capacity of early design freezing, material equipment with late delivery, availability of storage area in construction sites, and availability of lifting equipment. The site investigations with the result of questionnaire and with the result of semi-structured interviews that we are carrying out with some construction experts are helping us to develop this multi-level framework for decision-making tool because choosing the construction method is multi-criteria, multi-actor, multi-objective decision-making, and the framework is based on multi-criteria decision-making methods. So it's multi-level because we have two levels. The first level is the strategic level. Actually, it's a feasibility study. The objective of this level is to make them think out of the box, to get out of the circle of considering only three factors like quality, delay, and cost. We are trying to ask them the maximum questions so they can have a clear vision of their construction project. And it's based on attributes, objective, and constraints, because it varies every time, because every construction project is unique. So at this step, they will decide if industrialization is interesting or not for their project. If it is interested, the aim of the tool is to help them compare different alternative of construction methods or different alternative of design. And at this stage, they will have a ranking of different construction methods, which is the result of the tool. It's a lot to read, so I'll just say that a lot of objectives of this PhD are achieved, and for the moment, we are working on the validation and testing of the model because we intended to automate the model, so it will be like software or an application, so it will be easier to use by the decision makers. Okay, the perspective, we aim to develop the categorization model that allows the implementation of construction industrialization at the company level, because we only made a study on project level and we want to investigate it in a company level. Develop the decision-making model to take into consideration other constructive modes such as 3D printing or robotized construction, because for the moment our scope is only prefabrication. And the third perspective is to save the decision made by the tool in order to have enough data to use the machine learning and artificial intelligence. Thank you very much.